Hi folks, this is Abel James, and welcome to a very special episode of the Fat Burning Man Show with the returning guest, George Bryant, one of the most requested repeat guests ever, and a totally cool dude. Now, one of the reasons this show is so special is because if you're listening to this on Friday, which is when we're releasing it, today officially is the launch of George's first e-cookbook, a collection of over 200 recipes called Caveman Feast, which I was really happy to be a part of. And we just launched it at cavemanfeast.com, so you can check it out. And as a thanks to all of you loyal fans of the Fat Burning Man Show and Civilized Caveman out there who might be listening, we're offering $20 off, and I'm also including a bunch of bonuses with it. You get a free copy of my Intro to Paleo ebook, my Intro to Paleo video, an Inner Circle video, my Primal Rockstars ebook, George's Pumpkin ebook, and tons more, and a few unannounced bonuses too. So head on over to cavemanfeast.com to check it out. And thank you so much in advance for your support. Now, today is a particularly fun show. George and I talk about how George went from 0 fans to 30,000, the secrets of sous vide cooking, how to properly execute a superhuman Turkish get-up, and how George mischievously makes the world a better place. All right, let's go hang out with George. All right, folks, today we're here with the creator of Civilized Caveman and now the author of Caveman Feast, Mr. George Bryant. Dude, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing just great. So you're my second repeat guest ever.
Oh, nice.
You're an important dude.
I'm gonna add that to my signature in my email.
I think you should. But for those people out there who have been living under a rock and might not know you, why don't you just give them a quick background on what you're doing and how you got into it?
Okay, so quick background is I've been an active duty Marine for about 11 years. And while I was deployed to Afghanistan last year on my 3rd deployment, I read Rob Wolf's book and decided to change my life. I adopted the paleo lifestyle, and I came home from Afghanistan in April of 2011. And I started Civilized Caveman Cooking Creations the same day I taught myself how to cook, how to eat paleo, how to take food photos, and how to do web design too. Steep learning curve there.
That's crazy.
And pretty much my intention was just I was bringing recipes that I made into the gym and sharing them with people, and they all liked them, and I got really annoyed emailing them to everybody. Mm-hmm. So I started a central location for everybody to be able to access them, and I got excited when I had like 66 or 67 fans on Facebook, and I never expected the reaction that we have now, but my intention is just to post recipes that people really make every day. Like, yeah, we see all these websites and all these big companies that shoot out emails with these gorgeous recipes that a food stylist did and a food photographer took pictures of and a professional school-trained chef took pictures of. And it's like, okay, but some of us that work our butts off don't have time to make stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of throw it in the sous vide or throw it in the crock pot and come home and have a delicious meal. And I will try and take a good picture just to make people want to eat it. But
and
once
you do, yeah.
They realize the picture doesn't matter. Yeah.
So you were excited to have like 66 fans at the beginning. Now you have 30 bazillion, right?
Yeah, I wish I had some extra zeros, but I'll take 30,000 is good. It's a good start. We're making headway here.
Yeah. So I know you're crunched for time tonight, but let's talk about what's for dinner. You're working with the sous vide a lot lately, right?
Yes, it is my all-time. I wish I bought it 10 years ago before I even knew how to cook toy, because this thing makes everybody act or feel like a gourmet chef. I've been an avid follower of Nom Nom Paleo since day one, and now I'm blessed to actually be one of her dear friends. But she uses that thing religiously, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to buy it. That's too much money. And I'm like, no. And then I'm like thinking in my head one day, like with her schedule and her husband's schedule, like this thing really must be like a time saver. So, you know, I contacted Sous Vide. I tried to get one for free. That didn't happen. So, you know, I bit the bullet, and it was the best bullet I ever bit, because this thing, the meal preparation alone makes it worth it. You can cook all your food and then put it in a water bath in the fridge and refrigerate it for up to a week. You only need to put it back in to warm it up to temperature for an hour, or you can freeze it and then use it within 6 months. And to get it ready, all you have to do is put it in the same temperature you cooked it at for an hour, and it comes right back to room temperature.
That's super cool. I didn't even know what that was until a few months ago, but can you just explain to folks exactly how it works?
Yeah, it's pretty easy. So sous vide is just a controlled water bath So you have a water bath that you maintain a constant temperature in, and you vacuum seal your food to allow maximum contact with the water surrounding your food. So, for example, for dinner right now, I'm making grass-fed burgers, and with amazing meat like that, I salt, pepper, a little bit of paprika, and then I put a dab of bacon fat in each bag.
Ooh.
And vacuum seal it and drop those in at 134 degrees. And they only need an hour and a half to cook, but you can leave them in for up to like 8 hours and not worry about it. So you don't have to worry about overcooking your food because it never goes above that temperature. Once I pull them out at 134 degrees, I'll do a quick pan sear of them and some grass-fed butter on the grill for 30 seconds aside, and dinner is done.
And that's what you're doing tonight, right?
That is exactly what I'm doing tonight. In lovely 90 minutes, I will be mowing down on bacon burgers.
That's awesome. I wish I had that. I actually had an almost vegan dinner. But I'm not complaining. It was awesome. My uncle grows his own mushrooms out here, and my parents cooked up all of these veggies from the backyard and made cauliflower and cheese. That's why I say almost vegan, because I have to throw the cheese in there. But man, it was good. But bacon burgers, I wish I were coming over for dinner.
Yeah, man, we'll do the dinner thing soon. I'll figure out how to put this thing in my suitcase for when I travel to Austin.
That's a good idea. So what else can you make in a sous vide?
You can literally make everything. So far, I mean, I've been trying to experiment a lot. I've made an 8-pound tri-tip in it. I've made burgers religiously. I've made soft-boiled eggs in it. I've made hard-boiled eggs in it. Like, you can make the perfect poached egg in it because you control the exact temperature of what it's cooked to. I've made bone-in pork chops, bone-out pork chops. You can actually bake in the thing. They sell a baking rack to take the water out of it, and like maybe if you're doing like creme brulees or anything like that where you actually need the moisture, you can bake in this thing too.
That's awesome.
I've been doing a lot of Google research, and I have like 3 sous vide books sitting in front of me because I was trying to learn the art form. But I've pretty much found like you can even go to Trader Joe's and buy their rack of lamb that's already seasoned, not even change the packaging, and drop that whole package in the sous vide and make it.
Oh, wow. That's a great idea.
Because it's already vacuum sealed and food quality sealant, so it's completely waterproof and airtight. You can put it in and cook it just like that.
Now, what about people who are worried about plastic? I know you and I have talked a little bit about that, but why don't you explain to folks your take?
Actually, I remember the whole camp on this a while back, and Michelle from Nom Nom did this whole debunking myth on it. She contacted all the owners of all the companies that make the plastic. She started experimenting with using silicone. Even when you immerse them in water to seal them, you can't get all of the air out. So it can affect the way that your food is cooking.
Yeah.
After all of her spells and everything else, and I trust Michelle since she's like a really, really smart genius pharmacist, and
yeah, she rocks.
She raises her 2 kids this way. Her whole take at the end of it was, I love it, I use it, and I'm gonna keep doing it. She even talked about Chris Kresser when he did his whole post on it, but everything is BPA free. There's no chemicals in it. Sous Vide, who makes the bags, Michael or the Eads, they're pretty big into health and nutrition and the whole like ancestral movement. Like everyone that's involved in this process, especially with these products, are pretty health savvy. I'm pretty a big fan of them. I'm just gonna keep eating the food out of the plastic.
Yeah.
And actually, if you can put show notes, we can put all the links in there too.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I don't have one yet for people out there, but when I get one, and I'm planning on it, when I get back to Austin, I'll definitely share my experience. But having a perfectly cooked burger or steak or chicken or fish every time sounds pretty awesome to me.
I got to tell you, my biggest thing is you go to these awesome restaurants, and this is the funny thing that gets me about the plastic. You go to like this awesome steakhouse or this awesome burger joint where you're paying $30-$40 for a piece of meat.
Right.
And you order it, and it comes out, and the steak is the same color straight through the whole thing. We all know that no matter how hot your grill goes, you can't cook something so evenly throughout the same thing on a direct heat source.
Right.
Most of those restaurants all use sous vide and prep all your food in advance and then finish it on the grill or sear it with a blowtorch or anything along those lines.
That's so interesting. It's cool that it's coming down to the consumer level now too.
It is. It's crazy that no one even knows that. We just assume they're making a perfect, like a perfect steak every time, and they're grill masters. But honest to God, they're probably using a sous vide.
Right. All right, so let's switch gears a little bit and talk about your fitness routine. I know that you're a big CrossFit guy, but you also kind of customize your routines to fit your own schedule and body as well. So tell people how that works.
Okay, so I started drinking the CrossFit Kool-Aid like 2 years ago, and I was a big fan of it. And I got in the whole community of I need to compete and I need to beat everybody and I need to do this and this and this. And then after about a year of competing and hurting every day and being in immense amounts of sore pain and delayed muscle onset soreness and all that DOMS and all that fun stuff that isn't pleasurable about working out, I just kind of got a little sick of. And I took some time off, and I spent 6 months doing nothing but kettlebells with an amazing kettlebell instructor that I know. And I was shocked at how much stronger I got, how much better I felt. And then I realized that it's not about, going so hard every day and trying to beat this and who can do more weight. And
Right.
I started training a lot smarter and to my strengths and abilities and what I'm after. And ultimately what I'm after is just to be in pretty much, I want to be like a 10-year-old parkour ninja, be able to climb trees like a monkey and go flip trampolines. And
that's functional, dude.
I don't want to be like a CrossFit competitor. I'm not going to do it for a living. I want to be healthy and happy and be able to have fun. Like,
yeah,
I want to be 65 years old on the slack line in my backyard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
So I just adjusted my training. So I still follow a CrossFit regime, some sort of programming, but I always dial it to myself. So I'll reduce weights. I'll change round schemes. I'll adjust run distances, and then always I'll throw in some supplemental kettlebell work, whether it be swings or Turkish get-ups, which is the ultimate best kettlebell exercise in the world.
So can you? This might be hard over audio, but what exactly is a Turkish get-up for people who don't know?
So the easiest way to explain a Turkish get-up is if I had to lay you on the ground on your back, and we'll start. Just for an example, in case any of you awesome listeners are going to try this at home, you take
yeah, do it right now.
you take your shoe off, if you have one on, and you make a fist. Extend your arm above your chest, like you're laying on the ground, like you're doing a one-arm bench press, and rest your shoe on your fist. The key to this movement is to keep that shoe balanced on your wrist the whole time. But you, in essence, are going to go from the ground. You're going to do a partial sit-up onto your non-hand that has the shoe on it. Then you're going to go into a bridge position to allow your leg to come through to the bottom of a lunge. You're going to straighten up your torso, and then you're going to pretty much do a lunge to stand up straight and bring your feet together. That is half of the movement. So you're, in essence, going from laying flat on your back to laying or standing straight up at full extension. And then the second part of the movement is getting back down the same way you came up. So you would do a backward lunge with your left leg if the shoe was on your right hand. Then you would put your left hand down. You would kind of make a bridge to get both your feet back out in front of you. You would sit on your butt and then lower yourself back to your back. And that is your Turkish get-up. I believe it's a 13-point movement when they teach it, so there's a lot of steps involved. But you can imagine when you start putting some weights above your head, like 53 pounds or 70 pounds, getting yourself from the ground to standing vertical while keeping a straight wrist and a straight arm, you are engaging like 90% of your body, from your abdomen to your core to your butt, legs, your shoulders, like every single thing is just screaming.
Yeah. Doesn't that sound more fun than a push-up?
Totally better than a push-up.
Yeah.
I guarantee you'll be one of the only people in the gym that can do it.
Yeah, yeah. So, but it really need to learn the art.
You do.
And perfect it beforehand.
When I'm teaching people, I have people practice with their shoes for literally like weeks before I even put a weight in their hand.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah, you don't want to drop 70 pounds on your face. No, that's a mistake you make once.
Even the lighter ones, the 10 pounders, the 12 pounders, like just having the stability and the mindset to know that weight always has to stay above your head and always look at it and always keep a straight wrist. Like it's always better to slow down and take practice, because you can come back and do it again tomorrow. But if you get hurt, you're not going to be able to do it. Yeah,
that's really good advice. So what else would you recommend for people who are getting started? Maybe they can't go to CrossFit anymore, or they want to customize their own routine or work out at home. What advice would you give to people like that?
My best advice is literally just to get up and move. Like, like a lot of times people think, oh, I got to go to a gym, I got to do this. But like, I don't think people realize like how fun it is to just like go outside and climb a tree. Or I put a slackline in my backyard like 3 weeks ago, and I think I'm going to be a slackline world champion, but I can barely balance on this thing. But I go watch the YouTube videos and I see people flipping, and of course I want to do it. But like, I go out there for the intention of spending 10 minutes walking, and I end up being out there for like an hour and a half, and I can't feel my legs by the time I'm done.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you're intimidated, if you don't know what to do, the best thing you can do is just move. Go for a jog, go for a walk, find some body weight exercises.
Hmm.
You know, do a little online research on just strict body weight movements or exercises. Maybe do some yoga. You know, stuff like that is monumental for strength, and it can accomplish any goal that you can accomplish by running a marathon or doing a triathlon.
Hmm.
You just have to do it smart and right. So the easiest thing to do is just to get out and do something, and then once you do it, if it doesn't work, then research something else.
That's really good advice, because a lot of people come to me and they're like, I need a fitness routine, and often I say, no, you don't. It's more about learning how to make yourself exercise or make yourself move and get creative about it than it is about like a set routine, especially if you're not going after a particular goal, which a lot of people aren't. They just want to get into shape, right? It's not like they're training for a triathlon, which has very specific training regimens involved with it. But I mean, today, like I get bored too with what I'm doing, but so I just decided to go to a tree and start doing pull-ups on the branches, and it was awesome. I felt like I was 5 again.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's the best part. Like, you can't mistake that. Like, there's a reason as kids we all played in the trees and went outside and played kickball and dodgeball. Like, it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, we're supposed to enjoy our life. I'm sorry, but the first person that tells me as an adult I can't play kickball or go jump at the indoor trampoline park I've been living at lately, they're gonna be fighting me, because I'm gonna be a kid until the day I die.
I can just picture you now beating up on party poopers. But now there have been some cool stories that have come out on Facebook, and I've talked to you about them a few times. But you've been doing some cool things at coffee shops and Whole Foods parking lots. So why don't you? How about George Bryant story time?
Okay, okay. Everyone, if you don't have a glass of water, you may want to sit down for this one. I'm a little long-winded, so I will keep this as brief as possible. So this all started not on an intention. I didn't go to Whole Foods this day to do any intervention or help anybody. I went to eat my lunch, and I don't have a Whole Foods near me in California, so I was so ecstatic to just be able to sit at Whole Foods and go through that bar and eat all the food I wanted. So to summarize the story, I was sitting at Whole Foods outside enjoying my peaceful lunch. No one in Massachusetts happened to know I was the civilized caveman, and enjoying my food, and I saw a gentleman pull in the parking lot. There's a bunch of parking spots that were coned off, and there was only one car in there, and happened to be the manager of Whole Foods car. Well, the gentleman that pulled in the parking lot decided that when he was pulling in, he didn't want to slow down. He wanted to hit the manager's car. So I watched him hit the car, and then I watched him back away, check the bumper, and then put his car in park and go inside like nothing had happened.
Wow.
Well, one of the employees at Whole Foods had seen this happen. So, of course, he went over the loudspeaker and paged the license plate of the gentleman to have him come outside. And I was like, okay, I don't have to do anything. This guy's taking care of it. Probably like an 18-year-old kid. Like, I had the most admiration and respect for him for doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So he's standing by this guy's car waiting to come out. And then here comes this guy, tattooed, like 5'11", probably 180 pounds. Like, and this poor kid's probably like 5'5", 130.
Oh.
Maybe 125 pounds soaking wet. Like, I can't even explain. Like, but he was doing the right thing, and he confronted the gentleman and said, "Sir, you know, you can't leave because I saw you hit this vehicle, and I need to get the owner of this car out here so we can exchange information." Well, World War III broke out, and Mr. Old 44-year-old bully decided that he wanted to pick on the 18-year-old kid, and I did not want that to happen. So I left my lunch, and I very calmly approached this gentleman as more of an adult and someone of his own size he could try and pick on, and he raised his voice to me, which was the biggest mistake he's probably made that day. And I returned the favor, and I don't know, but as a Marine, I've been paid to learn how to yell and intimidate people for some time now, like 10 years.
Yeah.
So I raised it right back, and I probably uttered some threats that weren't appropriate. And
Not you, George.
He clammed up in a shell relatively quickly and stood there in kind of awe and intimidation. And the kid thanked me and then went and got the manager. And I gave the gentleman two choices. I said, "You can either stand here with me and wait till the cops get here, or you can try and leave, and I will make you stand here with me." And the gentleman obliged and stood there. And the cops came. The manager took care of everything. And then the manager actually gave me a gift card and food at the store.
That's awesome.
And I wasn't going to be in town. I was only in town for like another day or so, and I didn't need it. So I went outside down the street to another grocery store, no names need to be mentioned, that just And I found someone that I looked like had an empty cart going to the register, and I just gave them the gift card, and I said, "I hope you enjoy." And I told them there was $50 on it, and sent them back to their way.
That is awesome. And I think it's one of the things that people, it seems like people don't do that stuff anymore. You know, like doing the right thing is a huge story now, which is not to discredit you or anything like that. I think it's amazing, but it's just like, I wish more people could do things like that. And I think they are, like, they're inspired by things like that. But that's not the only thing you've done.
Yeah, I also I'm a big proponent of just like paying it forward. I'll give a quick background on it so everyone knows, but I lost my father to brain and lung cancer back in 2008, and he was my best friend. But the last 12 months of his life, I lost everything. Medical bills are expensive when you don't have insurance, and I was paying out of pocket for prescriptions. I didn't have money for food. We were on food stamps. Like, everything was going bad. My father was in chemo and radiation, had his leg amputated, had to get a prosthesis, all these things that cost all this money. I mean, we couldn't even afford hospice. I was giving my father's injections, his pills, and everything. And it was the best and the worst year of my life. It was the best year because I got to spend it with my best friend, and we both learned a lot about life. And it was the worst because it was every struggle imaginable. I sold everything I owned, my vehicles, my furniture. After my father passed away and I went home to Hawaii where I was stationed, I had nothing but a mattress on my floor. You know, it was sad, but at the same time, it was very invigorating because the whole time I was there caring for him, I met countless amounts of people that were just willing to do whatever it took selflessly to help me.
That's so cool.
People I didn't know, nurses I didn't know, doctors I didn't know, people at the hospice, people in the at-home nurses, like people in the insurance company, like people that everyone normally associates to be buttheads because of their job. Were the most giving and caring people to me, and I didn't do anything for them. I didn't, I didn't ask for it. They just offered it, and they literally changed my life because they made it possible to care for my father before he passed away. So, like, that philosophy alone, like, changed me as a person, and I could never thank all of them enough. So I decided that instead of trying to thank them, I was just going to keep doing it.
That's awesome.
I literally just believe in helping people to help people. Like, there's so many amazing people in this world, and we spend so much time, buried with our faces in our phones or our laptops or driving in the car, and like we never take the time to realize what's going on around us. But you just pick your head up for a second. You could see someone that may be having a miserable day and just needs to be smiled at.
Yeah.
Or you see someone that's walking a little insecure and you could tell them they're beautiful. Or you could see someone ordering something in a coffee shop and want a size bigger but couldn't afford it. Whether they should drink the coffee or not, that's not my choice. But
yeah.
This before I go to Trader Joe's at least once a month, and I'll get checking out, and then I'll buy two $25 gift cards, and I'll ask the cashier to just anonymously apply them to anybody's order. And it's funny because the cashiers all know me, and they'll tell me when I come back in like who it was for or why they did it, and it's so amazing because it inspires them to do it, and they'll like people about it, and it's so contagious. So my best friend Jesse manages a coffee shop here, so I'll go in there, and the other morning I went in there, and I just paid for a bunch of orders. I told Amy that was like, don't charge any of these people anything, and if it gets a little out of hand, just nod at me and I'll come pay. And like I think 5 or 6 people came in and got some pretty big orders, and like it was funny because they're like pulling out their card and like kids pulling out change in their pocket, and they look at Amy and she's like, no, you're all set. Someone already covered this for you. And like is alone, and I was sitting to where I could see every one of their faces.
Yeah.
Like it made my day. Like I left that coffee shop like just driven to change the world that day. Like I just wanted to go smile and spread it everywhere. And just because I saw a random person I didn't know smile because I paid for their coffee. Yeah, it cost me like $30-something that day. But like those 10 people left that coffee shop with like a whole new outlook on life that day.
Yeah.
Like and it's not my job to know what happened, but I could have stopped any of them from going into work in a bad mood or going into a parent-teacher conference in a bad mood or yelling at their child and later regretting it. Like, who knows what I did? But I know that they left there with a smile, and the thought that someone cared enough to do something generous like that resonates with people.
Yeah, and that's so freaking cool. And I also love how you managed to turn this sort of thing into mischief at the same time.
Yeah.
I can just see the look on your face while you're making all this go down.
Oh yeah, it's great. I mean, like you gotta enjoy life and you gotta play. I mean, and It's probably because if anyone saw me tattooed and ripped and looking like I do and bald head, like no one would expect this out of me.
Yeah.
I kind of got to play on it a little bit because it's funny to break mold and stereotypes, and that's another reason. Is like I've been, we all get stereotyped and we all get molds, but people think I'm like a jock or a CrossFit guy, and like I'm too good, I'm egotistical, and then they're like, oh, you cook, you clean, you run a website, you do photography, mainly children's portraits. Like, what's wrong with you?
Who is this man?
I'm like, yeah, you didn't expect that one, did you? Reading the word Renaissance.
Yeah, I love that. Now let's talk a little bit about food. What's your favorite recipe right now, or you probably have a handful?
Okay, so we'll have a few. The favorite one right now is the sous vide and making these burgers. This is like the fifth or sixth time I've made these burgers because it is so amazing. Like when they just like fall apart when you eat them at the perfect temperature. Other than that, I've been doing a whole lot of remaking of. Well, I'm working on some new recipes. I sent you a sneak peek of sweet potato stuffed red peppers the other day.
Yeah.
I've already remade that one twice. It's
nice.
Some sweet potatoes, some toasted pecans, some dates, cinnamon, just stuffed in a red pepper and baked twice. It's absolutely amazing. And then I don't know if you've been tracking the website, but I've been on like a muffin kick lately.
Yep. Yeah, they look amazing.
And I mastered the one I posted like 2 days ago. It's a cinnamon chocolate chip muffin with a honey toasted pecan frosting.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I even went to the length of going to YouTube to learn how to decorate a cupcake with a Ziploc bag. Just for the record, all the icing in those photos was done with a Ziploc bag for anyone who want to go look at it.
That's awesome. Look at you, are a Renaissance man.
Oh, yeah. I never knew I could do that with a Ziploc bag. Like, my mind was blown. I sat there in awe for like 10 minutes that I did that. I almost wanted to put it in like a trophy case and just be like, yes.
Yeah.
But then you run down the street to like a real cupcake shop, and I didn't look so awesome anymore. But
oh, whatever.
I look awesome on the interwebs in the paleo community, so that's a good plus.
You're not a food stylist.
I am not.
You're a renegade food stylist.
Yes. I will make it happen. If people could see the backdrops of what my food photos look like, I have books on the table. I got plates everywhere. It looks like a hurricane went off in my kitchen just to try and get one good photo.
But people respond. It works, like what you're doing really connects with people. And I think that's the whole point. And part of the beauty of it is that you don't have a whole team of people in a lighting crew to make all this happen. It's real.
Yeah, it is. And that's my favorite part. Like that's the thing that I enjoy the most is hearing people's responses. Like I get tons of comments every day and I love them because it's like these people that are like, oh my God, like I look at these food websites and they intimidate me, and I see you just throw the stuff in a crock pot and make it look pretty, but like it tastes so good. Like my kids want it every day. My husband wants it every day. My husband hates coconut, but yet he had 4 of those muffins for breakfast with his coffee.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh yeah, he must really hate coconut since that's the main ingredient. And it's like, it's forcing people to kind of get out of their comfort zones and just make a change because it's so simple and it's so relatable.
Yeah.
I talk about how much I work and how much I have to plan ahead for my meals and my food, and people are like, wow, I can really do this. I don't have to pick up a box meal or get takeout or order pizza. I can really do this and make it happen and enjoy it, and it tastes so much better.
It can be easy and pretty and simple and quick.
That's the key, man. Simplicity is key.
Yeah. Now, along those lines, let's talk a little bit about the Caveman Feast, your first book.
Oh, yes. So for all of you people that are going to hear this, actually for the first time since you all are, Mr. Abel James, modest man himself next to me, decided to assist me after our awesome introduction, first at PaleoFX in March, and then we shared some drinking festivities together in Boston.
And hangovers.
Amazing conversations in the middle of Boston at 1:30 in the morning that probably changed both of our lives.
Yep.
Mine for the better for sure. And I have all these recipes, and Abel has awesome assistants and abilities that I don't possess, and we complement each other well. And together we made Caveman Feast, which is over 200. I think it's like 202 or some sort of crazy number. All paleo recipes with photos and an ebook broken up into 8 sections, and it is going to be coming out in a couple days, and it'll be out by the time you hear this one.
Yeah, and we're both so excited. It's been a long time coming.
I am pumped.
Yeah.
I am like, I do little happy dances, and I cried when you sent me the first copy of it being done, because it's so frustrating to want to be able to reach so many people and having all the stuff to be able to do it, but not having the time.
Yeah.
Like I can't express enough. Like, if I literally could make 48 hours in a day, I would spend 47 of it trying to help other people and an hour of it eating.
Yeah.
Like, food makes me happy, and I'm a fat kid at heart, so the food has to be in there. But I want all these things to happen, and I just don't have the resources. So I thank you sincerely for providing them to me.
Well, thank you, George. My story behind this was I had, as some of you will probably remember, George on the show a while back, and he convinced me to try his pulled pork, which was made in a crock pot. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That sounds kind of weird. There's no way. I love my pulled pork. I've had it all around the country and world. So I'm like, yeah, whatever, George. I tried it. It was the best pulled pork of my life. And so I really got into what George was doing, and holy smokes, like, beautiful photography. The recipes themselves, every single one that I made has just blown my mind. And George, you really are a Renaissance man. So I'm so happy that we've been able to do this together, and hopefully we can do a lot more down the road.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I look forward to getting everything I can out to the world.
Right on. Cool. Well, I know you have to go. You're a busy man, but thank you so much for stopping by and coming on the show again. And obviously, I'd love to have you back again soon.
Oh, I'm going to be the first three-peat. I'm going to set records. That's my goal.
All right, man. Thanks so much, George.
Thanks, man. Talk soon.
Thank you folks so much for listening. If you want to check out Caveman Feast, which is over 200 recipes, George's new e-cookbook, head on over to cavemanfeast.com. And keep in mind, for podcast listeners, if you get it in the next week or two, I'm also throwing in a bunch of my ebooks and videos as a bonus as well. We're really excited. It's been a long time coming, and thank you so much for bearing with us in the meantime. And thanks so much for listening. I'll be talking to you guys soon. Cheers.